Ahead and let's do this. Let's go ahead and model that wine bottle now. So I'm gonna go ahead and Alt W out of here, and I believe my reference image. Okay, there it is. I had to. Sometimes your reference image, if it like disappears on you, just minimize and maximize, or Alt W in and out. That should pop it right back up. All right. First thing I'm gonna do is I always have a habit of pro, preparing my geometry. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this. That's your polygon counter. That's your hotkey is your 7 on your keyboard. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is hit my material key. So I'm gonna hit M, and like I said, this is just something I do. I always work in grayscale, and not that you need to. And I have a habit of always changing my lines to black. And like I said, you can always change the edge lines of your geometry to any specific color by hitting this little swatch over here. Maybe you want to have to have some kind of light blue lines in there. It's up to you, whatever's more easier or easy on the eyes for you. In this case, I'm just using black lines. All right, next thing I'm going to do is, oh, before I continue, remember when I dragged this on your geometry or on my geometry here? Just a heads up on this. Try to not use a texture within this shader. Not that you're gonna make this big scene or anything, or model this huge scene. But if I was to drop a texture in here, it would take place of that gray shader because I've already dragged that shader onto this object. Just thought I'd throw that out there. All right. Well, anyways, the next step I'm gonna do is we've already got this converted to a poly, so I'm gonna take that face right there and just delete it. And from here, this is where we're going to start working. Now, in the sub-object mode, I'm in my polygon mode. If you want to, I'll start from scratch here. I'll select the object, plus sign to get to the sub-object level. I'm going to go to my vertexes. And I'm going to keep all 4 windows up so you can see what's going on, or 4 viewports going. I'm actually highlight right through. So I can just, I'm taking my marquee tool, have that activated, or, at least that's the one that's selected right here. And then, of course, I have, the selected move, and I'm just going to highlight through, just like that. And then with my hotkeys, remember your WERs, you can swap through, or if you're not comfortable yet, you can, just go from here. I'm just going to go ahead and scale that in uniformly. And, something to get used to is just what you want to do for good practice is just highlight through, hold down your right mouse, hold it down, and just zoom back up and down on your mouse just to see how you can control it. To see how powerful, zooming in, or scooting back and forth on your mouse to try to control your vertexes here. All right, so I'm just going to basically scale this in, and I'm going right through these. I'm highlighting these verts and just kind of matching up the bottle here. At the same time, I'm kind of, using my middle mouse to kind of pan through. Alright, so I'm scaling this in. And as you can see, I'm paying attention to my top viewport to make sure things are not getting screwed up. This is what you want to be aware of. When you're scaling things, you want to be careful you're not grabbing it from the wrong axis, because look what happens now. It starts skewing our bottle. Alright, so like I said, make sure you're in the world, the center portion of it. All right, from here now, like I said earlier, I don't know if I said this earlier, but we're gonna just take care of the bulk of the bottle, so we don't have to get too detailed right now. So I'm gonna grab my border. I'm in border mode now. I'm just gonna select that, and then with my move tool, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna shift drag all the way up to the top of the bottle. You can do it that way, or you can just maybe shift drag up to here to the the mouth of the bottle, or whatever, the neck. Scale that in just like that, and then obviously do it one more time, and that's by holding shift. Something looks like my mouse is tripping out. Hold on, I wonder if my batteries are running out. Alright, so if I hold down shift and I'm in border mode, so I'm grabbing the border here, hold down shift, I'm going to scale up, or shift drag it up, and just and release. And then from here, I'm just going to go ahead and cap that off. So my border was selected and I just hit the cap tool. So let me do that again. I'm going to delete that face just so you can see it. I have the border selected, and then right here in border mode, I'm just capping it. Alright, so we got somewhat the bulk already. Now let's go ahead and start controlling our mesh here. So for example, you know, right here I could probably have a little more detail. So a couple ways I can do this. I can grab one edge here, ring it, which rings it all the way through, and then hit connect. And what that connect does is basically connect all the edges that we ringed across. So I can actually move this up and down now, sliding it back and forth by holding down my mouse and just sliding back and forth. And I'm probably going to bring it up, say, right about there. And then just hit your OK. And then from there, I can either grab the edges, which is already selected, or if you're used to it, just grab your verts, go to your scale, and just kind of scale it in. You know, we can grab these, probably scale them in a little bit. Oops, looks like I may have to start this video over because my mouse is like not really reacting properly. Alright, anyways, alright, let's go ahead and take that edge. We can go here, or like I said, if you're used to it, you can just highlight through, connect, and I'm going to slide this down to about right there, and then press OK, and we're just matching that up a little bit more. Alright, so we got the bulk of it. Looks like I'm going to stop this video. To be honest, my mouse is not reacting too well. I'm going to pause this and I'll be right back. It keeps locking up on me. I think my battery's dying. That's what I get for getting one of these Logitech mouses where it's battery operated. Huh. Anyways, I'll be back. Alright, let's go ahead and continue this. Alright, as you can see, we got the bulk of the bottle created here. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to throw a turbo smooth on top of the stack here, just so we can see how things are shaping up. Alright, so notice when I go to my modify panel right here. Let me just click that. I deselected. Okay. Go to my modify panel. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and name this bottle too. Alright, in the modify list. Now remember, we clicked the blue rainbow or the modify panel, and now we're clicking in the drop down list. I'm going to scroll all the way down to turbo smooth. Now I'm going to crank it up to 2 iterations. I never go higher than that. In some cases you can, but you know, just usually you want to keep it about 2. And then this is your isoline displays. I'm going to go ahead and check that. Now what you normally don't want to do is you do not want to collapse, you know, your mesh with turbo smooth on in isoline displays. Normally if you collapse them, you want to make sure you uncheck isoline displays before you collapse it, because in some cases a turbo smooth on a Polygon sometimes the geometry gets a little weird or messed up on you. So, but for now, you know, we're not going to collapse it though, and what we're going to do is we're going to start controlling our edges. Now notice this bottle kind of rounds off. We want to be able to control it a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this little light bulb. That just indicates, you know, turning off the turbo smooth. Alright, now what I'm going to do is we're going to add a couple edges here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab the top, and I'm going to hit inset right here. And start off with, when you're first using your tools, start off with hitting your little box right there, the dialog box. I'm going to open that up, and then you're going to see that we can, you know, inset our geometry. Now you don't want to overlap it like that. You just, you know, we're just going to do one, you know, move it in slightly, just so we have an extra edge to work with, and then I'm going to hit the check mark to OK it. Alright, now, just by doing that alone, if I turn on my turbo smooth, you can see that we're kind of smoothing out the bottle a little bit more. Alright, now, let's check out the bottom here. I'm going to do the same thing here. See how it rounds off? I'm going to go ahead and grab that polygon. So I'm in polygon mode. I'm going to grab that. We're going to go inset. And I'm going to kind of slide that in a little bit. I'm going to press OK. And you know what? Bottles usually have somewhat kind of, you know, they kind of, in some cases, they kind of extrude in. So I'm going to use my extrude tool and just extrude that, not outwards like that, but inwards slightly. About like that. And then I'm going to hit OK. And with that face still being selected, I'm going to take my scale tool in the center, just kind of bring it in slightly, scaling it in. And you know what? Now we're going to eventually control this a little more. So I'm going to turn on my Turbo Smooth just to see how things are shaping up. Looks pretty good, actually. We might not even need to add another cut. That looks fine. Alright, so let's look at what we got so far. I'm going to hit Alt-W. Alright, so notice when we use our Turbo Smooth, our bottle tends to shrink in a little bit. Alright. Now, with Turbo Smooth turned on, I'm going to hit my vertex mode. And then see this tool right here? It's called Show and Results. This is going to give you like an orange bounding cage. But what this is allowing you to do is work in smooth form. So we can manipulate the verts or the edges while we're in Turbo Smooth. So I'm just going to go to my front viewport. I'm hitting Alt-W. And see, we got the orange bounding cage, and then we have the actual mesh inside. So I'm going to actually highlight through, take my scale tool, and I'm just going to kind of scale it to match the bottle a little bit more. Just like that. Scaling through. We're shaping this up a little bit. And you know what? We're going to grab all the way through here, and I'm just going to scale those out. Just like that. That looks pretty good. And then, you know, it looks pretty good from here. What we're going to do now is we're going to probably add some details. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off my Turbo Smooth by selecting it. Just turn off Turbo Smooth here. Alright, so, and when we turn it off, notice that our bottle looks bigger than the drawing. But that's okay, because remember, our Turbo Smooth tends to shrink it in and tighten it up. We're going to actually create the details on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight the bottle, or select the bottle. I'm going to go to Polygon mode. Let me select the bottle, I'm sorry. Polygon mode, and I'm going to highlight this area right here, because this is going to represent kind of the label, the gold wrapping over the bottleneck. So watch, I'm going to zoom up in here so you can see what's going on. If I use my extrude, I'm going to extrude it, but I'm going to, here, I'll move this to the side. I'm actually going to extrude it on its local axis. That's by hitting this little arrow, local, and then I'm actually going to extrude it out. Now, if you're working with an older version of Max, you know, 2000, I believe, 10 or below, your controls may be a little different looking. Personally, I like the old school ones. I'm not a big fan of the new control scheme. If anybody knows how to actually convert to the old one, if there is an option, please let me know. We'd love to hear your feedback. But anyways, I'm going and extruding this out slightly, just so we have some detail. And I'm going to press OK. Now don't get me wrong, if this was like a low poly bottle, we wouldn't even worry about this. This would be all textures here. But like I said, we're just going through the process of learning how to polygon model. So I'm going to show you all these different techniques here. Alright, so I'm going to turn that off. Now watch when we turn on our Turbo Smooth. Okay, we're not quite getting the control we want, so this is why we start controlling our edges here. So, a couple ways we can do it. I can either take this edge right here and this edge. I can probably grab this edge right here. So I got all three edges at one time. I'm going to loop them so it loops all the way around. And then we can split the edges by using our chamfer tool. So I can click that, but be careful. You don't want your chamfers to overlap. So we're actually going to not use our connect. That one's a connect. But right here we can slide the chamfers. We're just trying to split that edge slightly. Something like that can work really well. And then you can just press OK. And if we turn on our Turbo Smooth, you can see we kind of controlled it a little bit better. So now we got some detail right there. Don't get me wrong, we could have slide. Another thing that helps is actually just, instead of chamfering, I'll go back. We can actually take edges like this, ring it, connect, and we can actually slide this down. You're going to see me slide the edge down really close, something like that. And if you have to, you can actually manually grab that and even slide it down closer, just like that. Just by doing that alone will help you control your edges. That's on one side, but we have to actually do the opposite now. You can go this way, ring, connect, and we'll slide this one the opposite way, just like that. And then, you know, we could probably do it on these too. Like I said, you'll probably use both of these techniques. I usually do go about this way when I'm working with more complex objects. And then, of course, I'll ring it. This seems a little more time consuming on this part. You know, like if you ever do the P51 tutorial, I tend to control my edges this way than chamfering it. But like I said, both ways work. You know, you can see we're getting the control we need. Alright, and then up here, you know, we didn't chamfer that edge, so I can actually just grab this edge right here, one side, ring it, connect, and, you know, we're going to slide that one up to the top here. Hit OK, and if I have to, I can actually slide it just a little bit more manually. And then, as you can see, we have, you know, control of our top there. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's start adding some more detail here. So I'm going to turn off my Turbo Smooth. We're going to cut in these little grooves here. Now remember, we're not quite looking at this bottle at orthographic. It's slightly out of perspective view. That's why it kind of arcs around like that. So, but we got to pretend like this is straight through. So I'm going to grab an edge, or like I said, you can just highlight through. Connect. And we're going to slide this one down. Oops. Let's slide this down to about right there. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to highlight all the way through. Connect again. That one seemed to have just luckily landed right there. That's fine. I'm going to press OK here. And let's see. That looks pretty good. Now from there, I'm going to Alt-W in my perspective. I'm going to hold control, grab that edge, I'm going to loop it. We're going to work with both of these. What I'm going to do here is actually hit my extrude, and I'm actually going to extrude, bring it down like that, and then I'm going to bring the height back inwards like that, and I'm bringing this down somewhere like that. That looks about right. I'm going to hit OK. And then from there, those edges are still selected, and if you happen to deselect them, you can just grab an edge. I'm gonna rotate a little bit, hold down control, grab that edge. You can loop them, and I'm zooming in really close, and then I'm going to chamfer that. So I'm going to split those edges just so I have a little split. You can see it kind of, oops, you don't want to go there, but you know, see how we kind of split the edge a little bit? I'm going to press OK, and then from there, we might chamfer these bottom edges. So if I turn on my Turbo Smooth, you can see we're starting to get a little control. Alright. And then let's go ahead and I'll probably split those edges here. I'm going to grab this edge right here, that edge. I'm going to grab that edge and hold down control and grab that edge. I'm going to loop them. And let's go ahead and just chamfer them. I'm splitting the edges. That looks okay. Right there. Just hit OK. Then I'm going to turn on my Turbo Smooth, and there we go. We got some detail. Technically, if we wanted to, we can, you know, maybe even extrude these out a little bit more. I was just trying to get some kind of a little bit of detail in there. Alright, we could probably come down to our label now as well. You know, even though this is just a regular kind of sticker label, but we're going to actually add a cut and pretend like a label's all the way around it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab an edge here. I'm going to ring it, connect, and that fit right about, that's actually right at the label. I'm going to hit OK, go to my polygon mode, and we're going to highlight everything here. And you know what? We're going to, you know what? Maybe we'll slide. We're going to take an edge here. We'll highlight there, connect. And we're going to slide this one down slightly. Right there to match that end of that label. And then I'm just going to take the polygons here and just highlight all the way through. And, you know, I'll just probably extrude it out a little bit. Extrude, just like that. We can even go tighter. I'm going to bring it in slightly. Press OK. And just to be quick about this, I'm actually going to just take that edge. I'm going to zoom up here, hold down Control, take that edge, and we're going to loop them. And I'm going to zoom up really close, and if you have to grab your magnifying glass to even get closer so you can see what's going on, I'm going to split all those edges at one time. And let's see. We'll just go about just a little bit of a split. Actually, there we go. Whoops, I had it. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the newer controls. Alright, but there, we got a slight split. Actually, I gotta go a little bit more. There we go. And I'm gonna hit OK. And there we go. We have just kind of an illusion that there's a label on there. Nothing serious, but just to introduce a few of your tools. Looks like our wine bottle's pretty much done. Alright, and there you go. Now from here, just go ahead and save your file. Then we're gonna probably build a new, you know, obviously work on the wine glass next. So hopefully you got introduced to some of your basic polygon tools. Our next objects will be a little more, you know, it's not that hard, but you know, it's a little more complex than the actual wine bottle itself. Alright, let's continue on to the next video tutorial.